This is CTV News with Nafisa Karim.
If they're in trouble, that means that the whole system isn't working.
Trouble in Forestry, where industry allies want the government to step in following the closure of an island mill. Also tonight, fulfilling Christmas wishes one toy at a time. The pileup for a good cause at Uptown. Plus, Adam finds out how a pawnbroker in Esquimalt was inspired by a man from the North Pole. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Reverberations from last week's mill closure in Crofton are still echoing up and down Vancouver Island. In Port Alberni, there is more concern today that a similar mill could be closed if more provincial action isn't taken. CTV's Andy Garland has more.
Reaction to the Crofton mill shutting down last week is not what you may think.
Honestly speaking, I was disappointed, but not necessarily surprised.
Huu-ay First Nation elected chief John Jack says the forestry industry has been in trouble for a while, and it's no different in the Alberni Valley.
This is something that's been building for quite a while, and we need action a while back, but if you can't do it then, should do it now.
Domtar, that owns the Crofton pulp mill, also operates the Port Alberni one, and tells CTV News, unless hosting conditions are improved and fiber supply becomes more affordable and available in BC, all their operations will be at risk.
I do think that the bad news coming out of Crofton could have an impact on the Alberni Valley, and that's something that's deeply concerning to me.
He says the root cause is harvest levels and that access to fiber hasn't been high enough to supply sawmills, which eventually trickles down to pulp and paper mills.
They're like the foundation of the forestry ecology, so to speak, and if they're in trouble, that means that the whole system isn't working.
On Friday, the city of Kamba River, as well as the Sashat First Nation, sent letters to the provincial and federal governments urging them to take immediate action.
Looking at creative ways to address stumpage, because it has to be affordable for tenure holders, licenses, First Nations to get the fiber out of the bush and into local mills.
Mr. Speaker, we need to take an all-hands-on-deck approach. We need to rethink how we're looking at the forest sector.
Courtney Alberni MP Gord Johns spoke to the House a couple weeks ago, addressing his concerns about the fragile sector, and has been a long-time proponent of the industry.
We need all levels of government working collectively, and we need to find solutions. And that only happens when people are sitting at the table and they're working together. And of course, the company needs to be part of that conversation as well.
North Cowichan is working with the Ministry of Jobs and Economic Growth to support workers and businesses affected by the Crofton mill closure. The Ministry of Forests did not respond in time for our deadline. Andy Garland, CTV News, Port Alberni.
A mammoth, hard-to-fight wildfire that burned for nearly 4 months in the Alberni Valley is officially out. The Mount Underwood wildfire broke out on August 11th, just days after the Wesley Ridge fire erupted nearby. BC Wildfire Service says the Mount Underwood fire was officially declared extinguished at 8:51 this morning. The fire grew to more than 3,500 hectares at its peak. It also caused power outages and led to the closure of Bamfield Road, cutting off a number of West Coast communities over the summer. The RCMP are back at a logging blockade on southern Vancouver Island. They're enforcing a court-ordered injunction which prohibits people from blocking roads in the Carmanah Valley area near Lake Cowichan. CTV's Anna McMillan reported on the first round of arrests, which happened late last month, and has more now on today's enforcement.
The RCMP is making its second appearance in the Walburn Valley in as many weeks, arresting people who are blocking roads to prevent logging in the area, which is about an hour-and-a-half drive north of Port Renfrew.
It's just they're really, really special and important for us, and there's such little left.
RCMP say they arrested 4 men today for breaching an injunction.
There are 40 police officers, but we are willing to be out here in the harshest weather and to just stay on the road, and I think ultimately they are not.
Protesters established a blockade called Cougar Camp 105 days ago. RCMP dismantled it late last month. The blockaders returned and say they expanded to 2 other areas nearby.
How's it going, big man?
The blockaders say what you're seeing here is one of their peers getting pulled off a platform they'd set up under this bridge.
What the RCMP have shown is that they're actually incapable of fighting us. They came in last time really heavily for 2 days, and the day they left, protesters or land protectors had already blocked the main line for the next day, expecting more enforcement.
RCMP were not available for an interview today. Here's what they told us after the first round of arrests 2 weeks ago.
The end goal is to have everyone leave the injunction without making any arrests, without having any criminal acts being committed, and to be doing that in a peaceful manner.
The injunction police are enforcing was granted to Tawak Forestry. The logging company says it plans to resume harvesting in the area when it's safe to do so. It's unclear if and when that will happen, as the blockaders say they don't have any plans to leave. Anna McMillan, CTV News.
The Capital Regional District is introducing a new payment model around water. After extensive public engagement, there will be a development cost charge for regional water supply service. The commission responsible says they're a tool to pay for water infrastructure projects in cases of new development. Without these charges, the board chair says the cost of expanding or upgrading infrastructure would fall disproportionately on existing ratepayers.
For the region, I think we should be pretty darn excited. It allows us to ensure that we've got a safe supply of potable drinking water for years to come.
Under provincial law, local governments have to provide help to DCC programs. The CRD says new development will be asked to pay 99% of growth-related costs. Ratepayers will pay 1% through water rates. The draft bylaw still needs ratification from the board and province. Victoria City Council will be starting the process of amending a bylaw that will allow towing companies to increase their fees. There hasn't been a change in the rates in 14 years. Always Towing says it approached the city after realizing that due to the rising costs of doing business, towing from a private property had meant a net loss for the company after expenses. Currently, under the frozen rates, Always can only charge $85 to hook up a vehicle, an extra $34 if a dolly is needed, and $20.50 per day to store a vehicle in their yard. Always Towing isn't sure what rate the city will set if the final motion passes, but says the city of Victoria needs to make it worthwhile.
They're going to come back with a decent amount. It's going to be a lot better than it is now. It's not quite what the police allow us to charge, but it's close.
You're happy?
Yeah, I'd be very happy.
Council still needs to approve the bylaw change, which should take place on Thursday. If it passes, the new rates will be set early next year. Looks like British Columbians are hitting the brakes on spending this holiday season. A new report from TD Bank says 38% plan to spend less this year, up 9% from 2024. Nearly half of those polled say they will keep spending the same, but that is a sharp decrease from last year's total of 60%. Most say the main reason for cutting back is the cost of living. For those who are spending money here, the Buy Canadian sentiment remains strong, with almost 80% saying they intend to support local businesses this holiday season. 107.3 Virgin Radio's Toy Mountain has grown from a mere mound at the beginning of the weekend into a decent-sized hill as of today. And that's where you come in with 4 days left in the annual toy drive. There's still time for you to toss one on the pile and help build a mountain. Virgin Radio is broadcasting live every day from Toy Mountain headquarters next to H&M at the Uptown Shopping Center, Thursday being its last day. Toys collected will go to CFAX Santa's Anonymous to be distributed to children throughout the capital region this holiday season. And to make things easy and take some of the work out of shopping, CFAX Santa's has a list on its website of what it's needing over the next 4 days.
So for Monday today, the toy of the day was Lego. Tuesday we have art supplies, so that's anything that you can draw with, paint with, anything that you can get creative with. Wednesday we're looking for sports bags, basketball equipment, or any kind of other sports equipment. And then Thursday we're doing anything dinosaurs, so actual dinosaurs, dinosaur blankets, pillows, stuffies, you name it, we'll take anything.
actual dinosaurs. Well, if you don't want to park or even get out of your car, Uptown has you covered with a drive-through drop-off on Wednesday, December 10th from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. You'll even get complimentary treats and coffee courtesy of Uptown shopping team. Then this coming Friday is Miracle on Uptown Boulevard, when CFAX 1070 will broadcast live for 12 straight hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to raise enough money to make sure everyone has a Merry Christmas this year. Well, still ahead, thousands of travel plans up in the air.
A little bit nervous, but I'm hoping everything will be okay.
Why some may have to buckle up for holiday turbulence.
12 degrees, wet and windy in Victoria. Wind warning in effect, although that should come to an end here over the course of the next couple of hours. There's a fire hose pointed at the island. More rain on the way over the next few days. All those details in just a few minutes.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
What makes West Shore Parks and Recreation a perfect place to play? It's our staff, working behind the scenes to keep the pool safe, kids engaged, and programs thriving. So apply today and join our team.
Well, Josh is here. He's the master of the weather buffet, and I think this weather, I'd like to call it soup weather. You just kind of want to have a big bowl of ramen. Suck.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's also a little soupy outside, and that'll be the case really for most of the rest of this week. It was 12 degrees at the harbor. Airport's at 13 in Victoria right now. We do still have some gusts to about 35 kilometers per hour. The wind warning, as we'll show you, is still in effect for Victoria. It looks like the nastiest of the wind gusts, though, are now in the rearview mirror and behind us. So the wind should continue to ease as we head through the evening hours, and that wind warning is probably going to be ended fairly shortly. The rain will stick around for a few more hours, and then that should be out of here late this evening, overnight tonight. But look at this, is that atmospheric fire hose we were talking about in right before the break. That is going to feed wave after wave of rain across parts of the island. So here's your break through this evening and overnight tonight, and even tomorrow morning, just cloudy skies. But by tomorrow afternoon, the rain returns, and it looks like there's another good push of some heavier rain, especially from Victoria's south late in the day on Wednesday. So we'll show you some potential rainfall totals in a moment. In the north, your rainfall totals should be in the 20 to 35 millimeter range tomorrow. Gusts will be up around 60 to 70 kilometers per hour, and temperatures pretty steady in the 7 to 9 degree range for daytime highs over the next 3 or 4 days. Some more rain on Wednesday and even Thursday. Could see some light rain. Breezy for inland areas. Gusts will be about 30 or 40 kilometers per hour. Late in the day, we get some rain pushing in. High of 8 under cloudy skies earlier in the afternoon. That rain sticks around through Wednesday, and then late in the day, Thursday, another chance of rain. 30 to 40 millimeters for parts of the west coast. Gusts about 60 kilometers per hour. High of 9 tomorrow. More rain Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, we could be approaching 80, maybe 80 plus millimeters of rain for parts of the west coast by the end of the day Thursday. In Comox, a little breezy tomorrow. Late in the day, we'll see the rain roll in, about 5 to 10 millimeters there, and we'll see some showers early Wednesday as well. But some sunny breaks by Wednesday afternoon, and Thursday looks fairly dry before we get back into some precipitation for Friday and through the weekend. In Nanaimo, a little breezy. Gusts to about 30 or 40 kilometers per hour. Mostly cloudy skies to start. And then late in the day, we get some rain rolling in, sort of late afternoon into the evening hours, about 5 to 10 millimeters worth, so it won't be really heavy, steady rain. Some steadier periods of rain on the way for Wednesday, though. And then Thursday, Friday, chance of showers. Temperatures back into double digits for one more day tomorrow, and then highs of about 9 after that. On Tuesday in Victoria, 9 degrees in the morning, 10 tomorrow afternoon, mostly cloudy skies. Again, late in the day, you get those showers pushing in, a little breezy, gusts to about 30 kilometers per hour. Looks like the heaviest of the rainfall for Victoria will be Wednesday, about 15 to 30 millimeters worth of rain, and then late Thursday through the day Friday, and possibly into Saturday as well. Some more wet weather. Temperatures, though, staying above average. 7 degrees, the average daytime high, should be in double digits for the next 3 or 4 days. CTV Weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. Throw the soup on, Nafisa. Throw on the soup.
Thanks, Josh. Well, a weekend rescue is highlighting Comox Valley Search and Rescue's medical capabilities in the field.
In this case, the initial report was of the subject having sustained head and neck injuries. And so automatically the call went to the advanced medical team to provide support.
A doctor was able to join the volunteer rescue mission in the Cumberland Trail System Saturday. They were also in contact with an emergency room physician for diagnostic and pain management assistance. Comox Valley SAR says more groups are adding skill sets to their teams since call volumes have gone up in the backcountry post-pandemic. They say rescue missions often start in areas where BC Emergency Health Services cannot access. No update yet on the injured cyclist's condition. Central Saanich police are warning residents after 3 cougars were seen Sunday morning. The trio was spotted in the 7300 block of West Saanich Road near the north end of Brentwood Bay. Police say no conflicts with people have been reported. If you spot a big cat, remember to stay calm and never turn your back and run. Try to make yourself look as big as possible, and if attacked, fight back with all you have. Well, get ready to see Air Transat grounded, with pilots primed to walk off the job as early as Wednesday morning. The union has issued a 3-day strike notice. The airline says flights today are still operating as planned. CTV's Heather Wright has the latest.
Travelers at Toronto's Pearson Airport checked into their flights this afternoon with an added bit of uncertainty.
A little bit nervous, but I'm hoping everything will be okay and we'll be home next Monday.
The union representing Air Transat's pilots has issued a 72-hour strike notice, with pilots poised to walk off the job early Wednesday morning if an agreement is not reached.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not really much we can do about it.
In anticipation of a strike, Air Transat has begun bringing its passengers back home. The airline says flights have been operating as usual today, but it's not clear whether flights will be canceled Tuesday, which the airline had said was possible. The two sides have been in negotiations for nearly a year, and experts say the timing of this strike notice is no accident.
They're doing this because this is the period of time where Transat is making its most money. It's the busiest time of the year for Transat. Planes are full. Fares are high.
The two sides remain at the bargaining table, with ALPA, the Airline Pilots Association that represents the 700 Air Transat pilots, saying in a statement, while some progress has been made, there is still work to do. We are working tirelessly to reach an agreement that achieves the collective priorities of our group. Air Transat says it has offered its pilots wage increases of 59% over the next 5 years, a number the union has called creative accounting. The union's demands are considered unreasonable, and its premature actions carry serious consequences for customers, the company, and its 4,300 other employees. Air Transat has struggled financially over the last several years and has not turned an annual profit since 2018.
Asked last week if the federal government would intervene if Air Transat pilots hit the picket line, Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu declined to answer, calling the question hypothetical. Ottawa did get involved in August when Air Canada flight attendants went on strike. A back-to-work order the union ignored. Heather Wright, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Coming up, Pawn Shop Santa. Adam finds out how an unexpected offer from a seamstress inspired an Esquimalt business owner to make his community more merry. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Finally, Adam finds out how a pawnbroker in Esquimalt was inspired by a man from the North Pole on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
Doug Scott started cleaning counters at this pawn shop when he was a kid.
I would come after school and do my homework here, and he ended up helping out Mom, and he ended up, helping out Dad.
And Doug ended up taking over the business when his parents retired, with the goal of helping folks make ends meet.
A lot of people are check to check, and sometimes they need, a tire goes out, or they need a new pair of boots for work.
But at this time of the year, sometimes they need more. Which brings us to Doug's beard, which he says his wife lets him start growing after their anniversary.
Well, I was clean shaven when we got married. She's not really a beard fan.
But a lot of people are, because of who it makes Doug look like.
People go, oh, give me a ho, ho, ho. And you go, for some reason, I can't do it unless I'm in my suit.
A suit that a seamstress came into the shop to offer him one day, but not to pawn.
She came forward and said that she would make me a Santa suit.
So he graciously accepted, before accessorizing it with a handmade belt.
A friend of mine from Whitehorse did the belt work for me.
That's pretty close to another northern place.
It is very close to the North Pole.
But Doug does all this for people close to home. Has been for more than 30 years.
I'm now to the point where little kids that were on my lap are bringing their children to me.
But the best thing, instead of charging a fee for the more than 20 events he appears at every season, Doug requests that a donation be made to the Santa's Anonymous Children's Charity.
Always brought up that the community supports us, we should support the community.
And Doug has found that when you focus on giving over getting,
it recharges your batteries. It really does. Give it a little shake of the bell.
You can't help but feel jolly when you're making others feel merry.
And the kids know you're there.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
That ho-ho-ho was worth the wait. That is it for CTV News Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.